Coming up on DITV, we'll show you how the norms of male restrooms are changing.
And later, we'll show you a new interactive way for students to learn about gravity.
Astronomy type of program was really exciting to me, just because we got the chance to show students and children this kind of intangible, invisible force in the universe, and this is a good hands-on demonstration.
We have your inside look at the halftime dedication to Chris Street's life during the Iowa vs. Purdue game, and we'll take a look at what the men's team needs to do tonight in order to get that second Big Ten win of the season.
And we finally get to say goodbye to that snow as I give you a warmer outlook in this week's weather.
All that and more coming up on this Tuesday morning edition of DITV.
Don't go anywhere, it's all starting now.
Good morning and thank you for tuning in. I'm Alexis Tansey.
And I'm Christopher Cervantes. In the midst of the government shutdown, a vote was passed on Monday to reopen and fund the government for the next 3 weeks. While the government has until February 8, its next deadline to reach a decision on DACA, Democrats feel things could become problematic within the next few weeks.
A Coralville crime will be featured on the Investigation Discovery Channel. The show On the Case with Paula Zahn will cover the 1981 murder of 22-year-old Vicky Klotzbach. Klotzbach was reported missing in October of 1981 and was found dead 3 days later, making it the first murder case in Coralville's history. And it has taken 22 years to solve that case. The episode of Murder in Coralville will air on Sunday night.
The University of Iowa Healthcare Associate Vice President and UI Hospitals and Clinics CEO Kenneth Cates has announced his intentions to retire in summer of 2018. Cates has served the UI Healthcare and Hospitals and Clinics for the past 10 years. After Cates' retirement, a national search for his successor will begin.
The university has had men express frustrations regarding the lack of baby changing tables in male restrooms on campus. DITV reporter Jahisha Thomas has more.
The University of Iowa is praised highly as one of the top business schools in the country. Nevertheless, it's not the academic foundation that in particularly the male students seem to be complaining about. One student in particular, Daryl Campbell, took to Twitter to explain his frustrating experience at Schaefer Hall.
So I had to lay a blanket down and lay him on top of the blanket, and I changed him there. And yeah, it was very uncomfortable because we were just in the open area on the floor.
According to the University of Iowa's standard policy for restrooms on campus, it states that there should be at least one baby changing station in each bathroom. Nonetheless, for male student fathers here, it still deems to be a harrowing experience.
Yeah, so I actually have a daughter that's 4, and when she was younger, it was hard to go basically anywhere to change her as a single dad, so I'd actually have to get my girlfriend or even my mom to do it sometimes, which is just like super inconvenient because as her dad, I want to have that responsibility.
So it looks like Iowa may have some work cut out for itself, but for now, this is Jahisha Thomas reporting for the DITV from downtown Iowa City.
Thanks, Jahisha. Alexis, I had no idea that was such a serious issue on campus.
I didn't either, Chris, but Jahisha did a great job reporting it, don't you think?
That she did, and she's not done yet. Let's toss it over to Jahisha in the weather studio for more. Jahisha?
Thanks a lot for that, guys. So it may not be time for the sunglasses just yet, but we sure are a step closer to that warm weather as we walk into this week, kicking off with the mid-30s today, leading into about 23 degrees tonight. Then looking at our extended forecast, the sun begins to peek from behind the clouds as we see partly sunny skies with about 33 degrees Wednesday afternoon to about the mid-20s in the evening. And then Thursday we get to see that big beautiful sun as we reach about 43 degrees, heading into about 33 degrees in the evening. Friday with sunny highs, we hit around 50 degrees and only 40 degrees into the evening. Nevertheless, even though we may feel that warm 45-degree weather Saturday afternoon, we are accompanied with some showers as we lead into the evening, lowering to about 29 degrees. And rounding off this weekend, we settle with that mid-30s weather, but a bit of sunshine as well before we finally hit about 24 degrees as we do come into the evening. So the weather is creeping up, my friends, but we cannot get too excited just yet. So still bring out your coats and please do have a fantastic week. Guys, back to you.
Thanks, Shahisha. The Iowa City Airport is celebrating its 100-year anniversary. The Iowa City Municipal Airport opened in 1918 and it started as a stop for airmail planes. With the 100-year celebration coming up, the airport staff is planning a celebration for early June. They are also planning to renovate the public viewing area in hopes to get more people exposed to aviation.
Forecasters have canceled a tsunami warning for Alaska and the western coast of the United States and Canada. Today, an earthquake hit the Gulf of Alaska, which had residents concerned that a tsunami could be next. While small tsunami waves of less than a foot were reported in Alaska, a tsunami alert has been canceled due to additional information regarding the conditions.
The Astrophysics Department at the University of Iowa has built a new way to understand gravity. DITV News reporter Gustava Meyer has more.
I spoke with Jacob Isbell to learn how the GravBox demonstrates gravity affecting an object as it travels through an imagined environment.
The idea with GravBox is we hide the math in the background so that students of any age or of any major can go and look at these processes in a more intuitive way and just see what happens without having to think about why it happens.
The tripod places the particle on the 2D landscape. We dug a half pipe to allow the particle to escape. The National Science Foundation funded the GravBox, which will be on display in undergraduate labs as well as museum exhibits. The groups that created the GravBox included algorithm, engineering, and interface teams. The landscape's particle is used to represent a spaceship, comet, planet, or even an asteroid. A team member will speak at the American Astronomical Society Conference in D.C. next week. Virtual simulations like tracing the particle to guess the landscape will be used as a demonstration in undergraduate labs.
It's kind of surreal, to be honest. It's crazy that a year and a half of hard work has finally evolved and finalized into this huge project that has reached already thousands of people, and I'm glad to be a part of it.
Reporting from the GravBox in Van Allen Hall, Gustavo Meyer, DITV News.
Well, Chris, I was able to get to the Iowa basketball game this past weekend, and it might not have been a great game, but it was still a really good day because it was the Chris Street Memorial game.
Oh, that it was. It was a really good game, and for more info, let's toss it over to Bo in the sports studio.
Last Friday, our very own Mary Kate Harrian gave us an in-depth look at the life of Chris Street. And now DITV's Lucy Rodin will show us the impact he still has.
14,822. That's how many people packed into Carver Hawkeye Arena to remember a fallen Hawkeye at the Chris Street Memorial Game.
I appreciate them coming out, first of all, to support the Street family. You know, so many of our guys came back, you know, our lettermen and, you know, some of Chris's teammates, obviously. And it's great to have Coach Davis here. It means a lot to us.
I think it definitely adds to it, you know, understanding the significance of today's game and honoring Chris Street, and just, you know, really unfortunate we didn't play our best basketball today.
In the midst of a disappointing season where Iowa lost on Saturday by 23 points, Chris Street came back to remind us that at the end of the day, there are things bigger than basketball.
Can't describe it. You know, people ask me why, you know, why. I said, well, you tell me why. I don't know. I think it was just, he was genuine. He loved the game. He was a hard worker, and he was sincere at it. And that's the only thing I can point to. But I don't know, just a tribute to him and how his mother raised him.
It was really emotional talking with Chris Street's parents. I'm pretty close with them. Talked to them last night and a bunch of the former players and how much Chris meant to this community and this, really the entire state.
Mike Street said that if Chris was able to witness the love and support 25 years later, all he would have to say would be "Go Hawks." Reporting from inside Carver Hawkeye Arena, this has been Lucy Rodin, DITV Sports.
Definitely a very emotional experience for everyone at the game on Saturday. Now, the Iowa basketball team has another chance to redeem themselves tonight, and our very own Mary Kate Harrian and Adam Hensley are standing by to give you guys all you need to know. Guys?
All right, thanks guys. I'm really excited to welcome in the sports editor of the Daily Iowan over to the TV studio to give us a little bit of a different perspective than we may be used to hearing this season. So Adam, really excited to have you here. Iowa has another big matchup tonight, just in the sense that they need a win here. Not really that Wisconsin is the team that people are used to seeing, as they have gone far in the tournament the last couple of years. But before we move on to looking at their matchup tonight, we've kind of witnessed an opposite season than most were thinking, especially I think me and you were thinking with the amount of talent they have. But again, like I said, since day one, this team is so young.
Oh yeah, and I think what's really stuck out this year is just the fact that Peter Jock's no longer with the team. And last year, he kind of served as that shot creator, this go-to scorer when they were in a little bit of a run or something like that. Could easily get a bucket for you. And he really opened up the floor for guys like Jordan Bohannon and Tyler Cook. And I think you're really seeing a product of Jock not being there this year, because Cook and Bohannon are facing a lot of double teams.
Yeah, just the lack of maturity on that team as well is definitely hurting them. But let's talk about Purdue. Not a fun game to watch at all. Garza was probably their only bright spot in my mind, but you cannot give up 23s and then go on and win a game.
Oh yeah, no. Iowa's defense was like almost not there. I mean, the three-point line was wide open for Purdue, guys coming off screens, but Iowa's offense did not help them out at all. I mean, when you shoot that poorly, especially in the first half, and then you're down by 37 at one point, it's just really hard to get back into a game.
All right, so now moving on to tonight, you and I talked about earlier a little bit how both of these teams' rosters are very young, but they're also having the same kind of season here as well.
Oh, yeah. I think with Wisconsin, they lost a lot of guys to graduation. Obviously more than Iowa did, because Iowa just lost Jock, but they still have Ethan Happ, and he's a beast down low in the paint. He's a great big man. But a lot of Wisconsin's production comes from underclassmen this year.
Yeah. All right, so give me one thing people should look out for during the game tonight.
Well, I'm really looking forward to the matchup between Tyler Cook and Ethan Happ, because both are very skilled big men, kind of in their own separate ways. But whether or not they're guarding each other and going one-on-one, I think it's just going to be a really good low post showcase tomorrow night on a national level.
All right, one key for the Hawkeyes to get this win.
Iowa needs to be able to counter when teams go on a run. Because especially in Big Ten play this year, Iowa has really struggled when they fall behind in like a 12-0 or 20-something run. And they really got to be able to counter back and just punch back. They did that against Illinois and they came out with the win, but aside from that game, they really have not showed that they can do that this year.
Yeah, my key is going to be, I said this on Friday before Purdue, but obviously it didn't work, offensive consistency. We finally have seen Bohannon kind of get back in his groove here after his rough first patch of the season. Cook's always that guy that you can always have, he'll score double digits plus every game. And then, but you got the rest of the guys. Garza had played phenomenal against Purdue, but then you have other games where he can't seem to find his rhythm on the court. So I think that's going to be the separation between the two. So we will see what happens with that. I'm going to go with the win. I think they're due. I think they're going to come ready to play inside of Carver. They have to win. It's getting to the point now. You got against U of I, and that's it. So I'm taking the win. What are you taking?
See, I'm not as optimistic as you are. Unfortunately, I'm going with the Badgers for this one after that Purdue game.
Okay. Well, I'm normally right, so you're probably wrong, but that is it for us. Tip-off is at 6 p.m. inside of Carver Hawkeye Arena and will be broadcast on ESPN2. Guys, back over to you.
Thanks, Mary Kate. We'll have highlights from that game in tomorrow morning's show. That's all I have in the sports studio. Come back tomorrow as I give you an in-depth look at the emotional reunion between an Iowa gymnast and her family. Guys, back over to you.
Thanks, Bo. This morning, the nominations for the 90th Annual Academy Awards were announced. Guillermo del Toro's The Shape of Water leads the pack with 13 nominations. Can you believe it?
Among Del Toro's The Shape of Water, some of the nominees for Best Picture include Dunkirk, Lady Bird, and The Post. The Academy Awards will be hosted by Jimmy Kimmel for the second time and will air on ABC March 4th.
And that's a wrap on this Tuesday morning edition of DITV. I'm Christopher Cervantes.
And I'm Alexis Tanzi. We'll see you back here tomorrow.